just wanna look at you. And I know it's gonna be. Oh, just wanna look at you. And I know it's gonna be. Just wanna look at you. And I know it's gonna be. Oh, just wanna look at you. And I know it's gonna be. Just wanna look at you. And I know it's gonna be. Oh, just wanna look at you. And I know it's gonna be.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of All Bass Creations, effects, tutorials, demos, and review. Welcome on in. Hit that like button for me if you haven't already. Hit the hype button, hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff. So, yeah, let's go and get started here. Hope everybody's having a lovely day, of course. You know what I'm saying? That actually is a backing track I created for this past weekend, and I just wanted to create a little outro for it, a little reharmonization of the pre-chorus section of it. So, you know, I did a few things in there. So first off, first sound, you know, I was using, of course, my standard bass tone. Let's switch over to the pedalboard view here, folks, so everybody can get a better view. So just explaining the layout a little bit. This side of the board, I'm not going to really explain because this is like my auxiliary board. It's pretty straightforward. Going from here to key 9, L9, vocoder, T-Selectronic, Plethora X1, Atlas compressor. And then it's going to this three-way looper bypass switcher, right? This pretty much stays home most of the time. But this is my main gigging board here, and all this is rigged up for MIDI, as well as, you know, just general flexibility. So let's talk about some of the ways MIDI kind of helped me out there. So excluding this side of the board, if I just look at this side of the board here, you have all my general sounds. So let's go back to bank 1 here. You'll have my dry bass sound, which I was using, well, not dry, but my actual bass sound. And that's actually a color box running into a Ampeg SGT, which is on B15 mode, right? So going from there, you got plenty of bottom, but you know, with the B15, kind of gives you that tubey feel almost, and really puts you in that era of bass playing in terms of tone, compared to the same settings without the SGT switch on. Mind you, all this is in the preset packs that you can buy on the Patreon. They're in the description below the video. But if you go to the patreon.com/allbasscreations, you'll be able to get a hold of all my Tone X1 presets, Enzo X, Future Impact V4, Mercury X, you know, as well as other pedals, C4 synth, all that good stuff. The Zoom multi-stomps and Zoom B6. So check all those preset packs out. But this one, so you can get more of that modern tone just by not having that B15 switch on. But when you kick on that B15 switch, it gets nice and round and tubey. So whatever you want to do with it, you can pretty much do. So I find that's a nice round bass tone that works for a lot of stuff. I also have the the SVT portion of the switch on here as well, which has quite a bit more bite to it. So if you want more of that grit sound, you want to use the SVT tone model. So for me, that B15 is like the middle of both of those. So it's rounder than the standard SGT preamp, but it's not as gritty as the SVT. SVT I would use for more of a rock song, but for something like this, B15, is perfect. And then all of these, again, the ones you're listening to right now are combination tone models. So they're the JHS Colorbox V2, which you see off to the side, running into an Ampeg SGT. So, that is a great value for you. If you have a Tone X1 or a Tone X pedal, that'll save you $700 and something, $850 actually, because both of those, Ampeg one is around $400. The Colorbox V2 is around, there. So going forward, having this set up like this, I have the Graviton N1 here, which is a nice touchscreen MIDI controller. And you can set up your whole board around this. I actually have my board underneath a CME H4 MIDI Pro. So that gives me 4 MIDI in and out, 2 MIDI ins, 2 MIDI outs, as well as the ability to control up to 8 and power up to 8 USB MIDI devices off of that hub that's built in underneath the board here. So this Graviton M1 is wirelessly connected to there, along with some other WIDI controllers, and they pretty much look like this. I have this one, and I also have a WIDI jack. So, but for the board here, the reason I wanted this to be wireless, because sometimes I want to take this off the board, and say I wanted to take this off the board and put it down here, I can easily do that. The USB that's there is pretty long. Let's see. Let's get her back in place here. So this allows me to just have access to all my different effects, presets really quickly. So say I was on stage and I wanted to, let's go to just the regular SGT here. Right, so which the pedals that are on MIDI are the Mercury X, Enzo X, the Pog 3, and the Future Impact V4 VIP. And all these can be triggered through MIDI, whether it be CC messages or the ability to change the presets altogether. So if I want to go from that, right, I can easily go from that to the soloing. And even if I had, say I had the Future Impact on, when I switch, it'll automatically turn the Future Impact off and switch me back to my dry bass sound here. So that is a very convenient thing when you're performing. And I have it set up for not just that, but I also have some foot switches down here on the floor. The 10-foot switch that wirelessly connects to the Graviton M1 is down on the floor. And by the way, the foot switch has a built-in battery. I've had this thing for like 3-4 months, and I've only charged it when I first got it, and it's still on. Let me see what percentages. It's on 67% right now, and I had it for 3-4 months. So that's an insane amount of battery on this thing. But I can go from there to go to my. So let's look at one of these presets. Come on, go to that preset. Okay, so it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 commands there for me to just switch all of that. So it has to turn the POG 3 to preset 10. And then it also has to turn the Mercury X, the Enzo X, and the Future Impact, right? So the Future Impact automatically gets turned off. The POG 3 automatically goes to preset 11. Preset or if you're talking MIDI, it'd be program change 11, program change 32, and program change 99. And that makes my life so much easier trying to perform, run a band, because I am an artist for a living. So when I do shows, I'm pretty much not just the artist, I'm the music director, I'm the lighting guy, I'm the sound guy. I'm sometimes have to MC, or host a little bit, so it's already enough stuff for me to do. The last thing I really want to do is be trying to click, 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 click for every single sound. That is really annoying. So for each one of these is like that. I have different commands for each pedal set up in here. And this being touchscreen has made this tremendously easy. So let me just make sure y'all can see that screen. Let me see something real quick. Y'all can kind of see it, I guess. Y'all can see what I'm doing relatively. Don't forget to hit that like button while you're hanging out with me. You know what I'm saying? Hit them reactions, all that good stuff. That all helps me out a lot, But and it also allows me to have my pedal board up off the floor. So if I don't have the best eyesight, and I need to wear glasses and stuff like that. So I like to have this screen up just like I have it right now, up off the floor, maybe up on a keyboard stand or something like that. Have my foot switches on the floor, and now I can just switch even while I'm playing. Just switch sounds. So the next thing I may do is incorporate like MIDI with a looper or something like that. But the only problem with me, the reason why I really don't trip off of having my looper here, which is the Jamman Solo HD, is because I don't always use the same sounds on a song. If I'm gonna, for instance, see what else I have on here. Let's go. We did this as well. So I don't always, sometimes I may want to use an envelope filter on that. know, and sometimes I may not want to. So it's really convenient to have. Then this is just one page. Now I can go up to the next bank and I have all my pads and stuff. If I wanted to do some pad work, you know, switch up my pad work as well. Super convenient. And I also still have access, thanks to MIDI, to the keyboard. I can always just use the keyboard to play the same sounds. And because I have the key MIDI controller already incorporated into the MIDI setup through the, so out of here I'm actually running a USB cable directly to the H4 MIDI Pro, which is underneath, which actually looks like this. So it's like a bigger version of this. This has the MIDI master in there as well, but it's a bigger version of this. So instead of just one of each in and out, you have two of each pretty much, and that's the main difference. And wireless MIDI. Also got the wireless MIDI upgrade with that. So the wireless MIDI also allows me to do stuff like, you know, I could put these MIDI masters in here, like put this one in here, plug this into my computer, and then I have a nice low latency MIDI signal going to my computer as well if I wanted to record into Logic or something like that. Or if I wanted to use main stage sounds, I also have the ability to do that without ever changing my setup, because the CME H4 MIDI Pro, which is right here, it's just built into the side of the board underneath, is sending wireless MIDI out to all these different little MIDI devices, and it can do it all at once. It's another one. Here's another one. So this is the MIDI jack, and this one has like the extensions on it. You can run both of them or one at a time. Comes with a nice little magnet under there as well, and can be powered through USB-C, but unfortunately does not transmit MIDI through USB-C. So these are some of the MIDI things that I have that help me out a lot. So the reason I really like these too, say I wanted to send this keyboard to my iPad, right? I can also run sounds from my iPad from here. Let me see something. Matter of fact, let's turn on. We're going. Let's do that. Let's unmute this. 1 second, and I'm going to then add the iPad into there. I'm just going to plug this in. It's going to automatically connect, right? Which is going to make my life so much easier. So while we doing that, let's listen to a little bit of funk. All right, and we're back. So now we got EP, and I also have the foot switches down bottom on the MIDI captain. So I have the 10-foot switch for the Graviton M1, and I also have the MIDI captain as well. I had the MIDI captain first, so I just kind of kept it, and so it just gave me an extra 10-foot switches to work with here. So, you know, never can have enough the wireless foot switches. Like, I think I have 20 down bottom, plus a expression pedal that is wired to the Luminite M1 too. But I can actually I'm controlling all of that, including the Mercury X hold modifier. See that light going on in and off? So I'm turning that hold modifier on and off. So if I turn on the strings here, right, I created this beautiful string sound using the Enzo X. This is not an actual string sound. This is actually a synth sound that I created. See, I just changed the pitch there. But I can also choose to hold that on the Mercury X. Still got the EP in there from the iPad. There's plenty of stuff you can just have access to immediately. Like, you don't have to wait. If I want to play that string sound with my bass, I can. MIDI is crazy. When you really think about where the technology has come from, let me move this out my way. I ain't using it at the moment. There we go. So the ability to do that, as well as if I want to play organ, I can do that as well through the POG 3. Let's mute the iPad stuff real quick. And that is the POG 3. And I got the created like a Leslie sound from in the Mercury X. So just tons of playing options is the key. Even things like ARPs, even if I wanted to take that organ sound, run it through an arpeggiator, or just play the arpeggiator by itself on the add in some EP. It's even also triggered the hold on the Mercury X there as well. See, just holding that. So when you have all this stuff available to you like this, now let's talk about how long it took me to set this up. So that's why I said we're just going to talk about this, because this is my main gigging board here. I actually just put this together 20 minutes ago. This other, call that like my auxiliary soundboard there. But this here, having 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pedals on MIDI, and the main 4 that I use for the majority of my sounds, the majority of everything, really. As you can see, the POG 3, Enzo X, Mercury X are extremely important to me doing my pads. I love a good arpeggiator. And it's just right there available. So it took a while to set all this up for this. Let me change that. All right, so setup time, right? It didn't take me much time to put the actual board together. It is 3 different layers to putting together a pedal board like this. It's a very, it's only 9 pedals, which is not actually a big pedal board. This is a medium-sized pedal board. I think it's 14 by 21, 22, something like that. It's not that big of a pedal board, actually, you know what I'm saying, compared to, it's sitting on a Terra Nova 42, which is the size of a 61 key MIDI controller here. So this is about half of a Terra Nova 42. So this whole thing is powered by a Canvas Power 15, which I'm not using 15 slots, so I still got an extra 6 slots I could use. I can literally get another one or Canvas Power and daisy chain it to this board over here if I wanted to, but I'm actually running this one off of MXR Power ISO brick. But either way, so you got the power aspect of things. Then you also have the audio cable aspect of things. And then we added the additional layer of MIDI. So at each one of those stages, you need to make sure, especially the first 2, power. Make sure that you got a good power supply, solid power cables that don't just, that's not making extra noise. Like my entire pedal board, there's no bypass switcher on this side of the board. Once I'm into this board, it's just, so once I bypass this board from here, it's going straight from here to this board. And all these pedals have true bypass, even though the Enzo X and the Mercury X are running in buffered bypass mode because of the stereo. I'm running that in stereo. So, excuse me. So, make sure that you got a good power supply. Don't skimp out on your power supply. I've taken the time to make all custom cables for mine. I know that's not an option for everybody, but if you can, make you some custom cables. And I definitely recommend soldered cables for a clean signal. That's how my pedal board sounds. That's literally the sound of my pedal board when the mic is off. Stupid quiet. So that's due to good power, good audio. Now let's get back to the MIDI. The MIDI is another layer that you have to kind of is less. You don't need the expensive MIDI cables. Just put it like that. Get you some reasonably priced ones that ain't gonna break your pocket. I like these low profile ones here. They look like that. They work very nicely, and they are they usually come out at an angle. So if it comes up, it's just like that, and it's out the way of the other plug that's here. It's another MIDI out port here. So I come out the CME H4 MIDI Pro into the Mercury X, Enzo X, POG 3, and then Future Impact V4 VIP. And it doesn't matter the order. It doesn't matter the order I daisy chain my MIDI pedals in. What matters is what channels I have them set to. So I have this set to channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, and channel 5. I know I skipped 4, but I used to have another pedal on MIDI that was channel 4, and I didn't feel like changing all my presets. So I didn't. Come on now. Come on. And just got it on top. Look. Just switch it. All right, so that's the MIDI channels there. And what else? Okay. And then, of course, like I said, I have the Graviton M1 wirelessly connected, and the company 10-foot switch. I also have the MIDI captain, and then I have, like I said, those WIDI, these things. This is a WIDI jack and the WIDI masters. These are wirelessly transmitting MIDI all around my room when I need to. So I have a Yamaha Motif 6 across the room that's just standing up on the side that I have stereo inputs running into that. I can literally play the MIDI controller that's connected to the CME H4 MIDI Pro, and it wirelessly transmitted way across the room to the Motif or to the computer or on the floor to the iPad. So that's a lot of flexibility that just adding MIDI to your rig. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention with the H4 MIDI Pro, I can filter out certain MIDI messages to not go to certain places. So like on the iPad, I don't want CC messages going to the iPad. I only want, and I don't want program changes going there either. So I literally have, I have the iPad to accept MIDI on channels 1 and 3. So basically channel 1, channel 3, right? So basically anytime I change these presets or CC messages, which are just, CC messages control parameters. Program changes control preset changes. Just think of it like preset changes. They call it program changes though. But, you know, that I don't want that going to the iPad because I already have my sound set up in there a certain way. and I don't need to change the parameters or change the actual sounds that way. So I have only the actual note on and off messages and the sustain pedal messages going to the iPad, and the same thing going to the computer and the motif. Another way you can also use MIDI other than the preset, changes, you can use it to scroll through different devices. So say I wanted to scroll through different presets on the Mercury, on the Enzo X. I can do it right here from the floor. Try out different sounds. Say I want to try out different reverbs. I can scroll through the Mercury X, changing rooms. And the other thing it does, it keeps my workflow relatively fast. You know what I'm saying? But back to the time thing real quick, it took quite a while to set all that up. You have to have the individual presets, sounds, and everything programmed into each individual pedal. Then you also need to have the combinations of that stuff in mind when you're creating presets. Then you need to prioritize which ones you will need the most and when you will need them. So on my first page here is all my normal bass stuff. So first patch, straight up just bass. If I want to change my amp model or my tone model, I can do that over here. Even if I wanted guitar amps. And there are devices that allow the Tone X1s to be on MIDI as well, but I'm just not willing to spend extra money for that. I literally only need 3 types of preamps. I need this general color box one I use right here, which is the light blue, and that's for my pads and things like that. And it also works for chordal bass stuff. And then I have my actual bass tone here. Then I have in the middle, this orange is guitar amp. So I'm only really, I only have to just click these together. My foot fits both of these together. Luckily, they're really small. So with that, I can, everything else being set up like I need it to be, and just being able to go from to especially when you are in a live performance and you talking about hands free. Whatever you want to do from there, and then you just click that, bam. If you want to get that, go to an actual guitar amp type sound. So it probably all together, well, let's just say this. I didn't do all these presets at once. Like this is years of, mind you, most of these pedals actually are brand new, but not brand new, but have been within the last year or so. But so say I spent probably, I say once all your presets are set up and you know what you want, combinations you want, it actually, with the Graviton M1, It doesn't take long to set up. It'll take you like a day or two. I ain't even gonna lie to you. It's probably gonna take you about a day or two. Thank you, Felix, for subscribing. I appreciate that a lot. Make sure y'all hit that like button for me. It helped me out a lot. But yeah, so once this allows you, let's go to an empty preset here. It's page 12. Yep. Let's go here. You just add a message there, type it, choose if you want a CC or program change. If I want a program change, I come here, type the number, bam. If you want to test it, see if I change it, it'll go right back to 16. If I want to add another one, bam, I go there. I can select the MIDI channel here. Say I want to change the Mercury X this time. I can choose CC messages, all that stuff. You can create a preset chain. You can have stuff together, linked together as a song, so it'll switch. Like you can have the foot switch between stuff that you need for one song. This is all really cool. Expression pedals and stuff. You can add a parameter in there in that preset where your expression pedal does different things. So you can assign expression, right? So here I have a bunch of different expression pedal settings set up already. Things that control parameters. Like, for instance, this one. Let's go to a different. Just show you if one I already have set up, probably. So now the expression pedal will essentially work like one of the foot switches. I can turn like hold modifier off, and trigger multiple parameters at once from the expression pedal on the floor as well. So I got 2 foot switches, 2 foot pedals on the floor that have 10 foot switches each, and my expression pedal tied to here. So it with all that stored in each preset. So the presets for the expression pedal, the presets for each pedal, and if I need the pedal to turn on and off, as well as if I want the ability to control any parameter within that pedal in a live performance scenario. So ultimately, I wouldn't try to set all this up in one day. I wouldn't even try to. I would definitely, you definitely want to do this when you have some time to really run your rig, like really test out your rig, and get familiar with it. So that's the other aspect of it. Because I'm not touching the foot switches as much, I gotta know, I gotta pay attention to my screen here. So when I want different sounds, got to pay attention to the banks, know where the banks are so I don't have to fiddle around. So, that makes a huge difference on stage. The ability to just know your equipment, I know where it is. If I go to bank 3, bam, that's where my lead synth sounds are. If I go to bank 1, that's where all my regular bass sounds are. Chorus, flanger. Phaser. octave down, pads. Second page is all pads. And they're pads that can be sustained. Like I have the expression pedal on this one set up to do sustain pretty much as a hold or freeze function on the Mercury X. And even if I was to play, still got access to it. Freeze and sustain that for me. Mind you, the only thing connected to the Mercury X is the H4 MIDI Pro, but the Graviton M1 is wirelessly connected to it, and so because of that, the TRS that I'm running out of here, which is the expression pedal, is also wirelessly connected to it. So one expression pedal, I can control all 4 of these pedals and any of the parameters in there, that I need to control live. With one expression pedal, I don't need to have 2 or 3, just the one. I have to actually have a separate expression pedal for the MXR. And I think people don't take that into consideration. That's an extra expense. Everybody don't just have an expression pedal, right? You got to actually go buy one at some point. So I think it's with MIDI, I think it even boosts your purchases. Why is my other chat not coming through? I'm sorry on the other chat, on the vertical on YouTube. For some reason, I'm sorry for those that have been commenting and, I'm not sure why that hasn't come through. No. Yeah, I'm not sure why my chat's not coming through my computer. But for those of you that hello and all that good stuff, and appreciate all the love y'all show. But yeah, so I can basically just create pads like this, and this allows me to still use the Enzo X, right? So I'm freezing the Mercury X with the expression pedal. And I can also anything I want, I can still play, right? I can still use the Enzo X to play while the Mercury X is freezing as well. So this is where MIDI really comes in handy. Like it really comes in handy, because now I can take this. This is a relatively small pedal board for me. As you can see, I have a hard time even just not letting these be around. But it definitely allows that flexibility with one expression pedal. You don't have to have 50, or even when it comes to settings like this on the POG 3, right? So I still have an expression pedal going to the POG 3. What I might do is just run a dual expression pedal, but I like the response of it connected directly, so I do have a separate expression pedal for the POG 3. Did I plug in the right one? Oh, is it this one? Yep, this one. So I can freeze that. And I also can use the filter. So that's the filter, this knob essentially. And the freeze gliss at the same time. So it essentially allowing me to use two separate expression pedals at once with the POG 3, and have one control the filter and have one control the freeze gliss. So freeze gliss. Let's throw this in there. And I can also control the filter separately. Even if I wanted to do something like this. Don't run the dry sound through the filter. Now I'm just controlling the So now I got the freeze gliss still going. I could control the filter on just the freeze gliss, and I still have my dry bass sound. Or whatever you want to do from there. So yes, MIDI does add a layer of complexity. I will say that. But it also, it takes off some additional layers of complexity when it actually comes to performance time. I would rather have to really take some time and set up some stuff beforehand versus when I'm on stage trying to perform, trying to get that same stuff done. It's just, you have no idea how much stress it is trying to do that. Remember where sounds are. Remember what loops is going on, right? I got to remember the song forms. I got to remember my parts. I actually have to remember not just my parts. If I'm doing solo, I have to remember everybody's entire parts for the entire song and be able to just play them in whatever manner. So I need to be able to get to my bass sound and then a guitar sound. Then I may need to get to a string type sound or pad. May need to get to an EP sound. And then all this is while the show is going on. People are looking at me, wanting to be entertained, right? So I don't have time to take 50 hours to lay down a single loop. Hurry up and lay down the loop, change the sound, get to the next sound, and start laying it down. The faster you can lay down them layers, the better. So that means you need to minimize the amount of time between sound changes, and when you have this many pedals, say I'm on here and I don't have MIDI incorporated, I gotta scroll, or press it and hold and let it scroll, and I have some past it, I gotta go back, bam, bam, bam. You had no idea how stressful this is in a show. And right here, so with pedals like this, I would have to do something like bank up, right? And then select which one I want from there, bank down, select which one I want from there. Same thing here. But once that, and in here, you only got this. You gotta scroll like this, right? And you can skip by tens this way. So you can, you can skip by tens this way. And if you press real fast, you can go backwards. If you want to go forwards, it's a bit of a hassle compared to coming over here. Now, you see how difficult it was for me to scroll through all these pedals, right? I come to this page, POG 3, right? Scroll. all with your foot. Scrolling with this one now. Just holding it. Look, it just scroll. Bam! It even go faster now. Same thing in reverse. Rank, right? Enzo X. Bop, 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 bop. Go back. Right? We're going forward. Mercury X. And all this is on one bank, right? So pretty much I got the top row set up for preset up of each pedal. So preset up of the Pog 3, Future Impact, Enzo X, and Mercury X. And the down versions are on the bottom. Down preset. I don't know about you, but when you're creating, like say you are writing a song, you really don't want to have to fiddle around with stuff then either, because you'll lose the song, right? Or you'll lose the idea. So having this stuff set up to make your life easier, where you can, all right, I already like this. Let's say I already like this string sound, right? Let's pick something else. Right, whatever. I want to try a different reverb. I want to try a different synth. It's so convenient. You'll just be writing songs very quickly. It's not just on stage. It's literally in real life on a regular. Say you're in the studio, you really don't want to waste a whole bunch of studio time. Studio time is money. Okay, that's the other thing here. When people hire me to come in the studio and do stuff, sometimes they know what they want me to do. Sometimes they end up like, I've seen your videos and stuff. Can you add some of that extra stuff in there? And if I didn't have this stuff already put together like this, it would make that tedious, you know what I'm saying? But because it's already put together, sure, what kind of pad you looking for? I mean, you want me, whatever you want. What else is on right tell you, like stuff like that would be really difficult to do because of all the parameters I'm changing right there. I'm changing about 3 or 4 parameters on the Enzo X, about 3 or 4 on the whole modifier switch of the Mercury X. And I mean, because that's the majority of that sound. That's pretty much all of that sound is the Enzo X. Also running the color boxes here and running Mercury X. That's that whole sound. So, you know, if you're new to MIDI, don't worry about it. Don't think it's overly complicated. All it's doing, for the most part, in most of our pedal boards, is literally just changing presets and parameters. So, as long as you know which parameters you would like to change or which presets you would like to change, you know, that's all it really is. You know, and then when you add the keyboard layer, again, that's just having the MIDI controller set to the right channel, and then having your pedals, or if your pedals have that available, set up to that same channel to, you know, receive MIDI. The other aspect you need to have, like these Enzo X and Mercury X, you got to have those on MIDI through. You know, but when you want to edit these with the computer, right, it'll automatically change it to MIDI out. So say you were backing up all your presets on the Enzo X or the Mercury X or the LVX, it will switch that MIDI out. It will switch that MIDI out port back to MIDI out. So in order for it to pass the MIDI signal through to the other pedals on your pedal board, you'll need it to be turned on MIDI through. So that's something else to go through your pedals. If you're not getting MIDI distributed throughout, that's something else you can check. What is the MIDI output set to, and what does that mean for that particular pedal? What's some other stuff? Problems I've run into with MIDI. A lot of it has just been learning which parameters. Oh, you'll pretty much need to download every single manual for all the pedals that you use, that are on MIDI, because you'll need the actual MIDI chart. Like, it'll be a chart with all the MIDI CC messages, what the program changes are, and how, you know, various things work with that pedal through MIDI. So even things like this vocoder over here has MIDI as well. I can play MIDI into it instead of using my bass as the input source. I can use MIDI as the input source with that. The same way I can do with the POG 3 and the Enzo X and the Future Impact V4 VIP. Unfortunately, the MXR bass synth does not have that feature, but, you know, that's cool. But yeah, you know, that's some things you'll run into problem-wise with MIDI. Make sure things are on the proper channel. If you want the MIDI controller to go to a certain place, if I want the MIDI channel to go here, I gotta have this set on channel 3. If I wanted the MIDI controller to go to here, I gotta set that to channel 1. Now you're getting a nice organ sound. Again, through MIDI, make the Mercury X freeze and sustain while, right? And that kind of puts it in like that chord in the cloud, right? It's like it's floating above you. You still got access to the sound underneath. Whatever you want to do. Options upon options. It opens up things like with the Future Impact, it opens up new possibilities in terms of it. The Future Impact allows you to play, right? And it doesn't just use the internal sounds. You can use MIDI out from the Future Impact to, say, the iPad if I wanted to, and I can use synth bass sounds in there with, you know, the same tracking I'm getting with the Future Impact, you know. Let's go. You know, and that's one thing I will say about the Future Impact with the tracking, right? It's actually very good if you have your settings done properly. And that's something that you need to look into with any synth pedal, whether it be the MXR bass synth, the Future Impact V4 VIP, or, you know, Enzo X. So they all have tracking parameters. And those tracking parameters are going to be the difference between whether that pedal plays well with your playing style or not. So, you know, for instance, the note off, you got the note on and note off level, and on the Future Impact, as well as you can set the tracking priority within the software for faster tracking or more precise tracking, right, for slower passages. Then, you know, on the MXR bass synth, so on there, you want to change that tracking to the 4-string, right? And you also want to play around with the gate, and you know that'll definitely help you out. Those two parameters. Enzo X, you definitely want to look at that note persist, and you know, depending on how you want it to track, you need to set up your ADSR a little differently. So, yeah. I know everybody expecting everything. So I definitely recommend spending some real time with your pedals. You spend a good amount of time with each individual pedals. I never recommend just getting a slew of pedals at once. Like, take some time and gradually grab new pedals. And give yourself time to really learn those pedals, especially synth pedals. They definitely take a little bit more time than other pedals, you know, in terms of getting to sounds that you really want to. Now, Enzo X has some amazing presets right off the back, so no problems there. But, you know, most other pedals, Maris is the only companies whose presets I've really used live and, like, have trouble, you know, just deleting and creating something new over, because they do a really good job with them. But don't forget, if you want my presets for my preset packs, you can find all those. Just different bass synths there. So just all 3 different bass synths. And they're all worth getting if you're really into bass synths, right? And but if you want to keep it on the MIDI side of the game, like I said, the MXR bass synth is the only one that doesn't have the MIDI. If I want to play the Future Impact, this is where MIDI also is really cool. I don't have to actually switch my rig, right? Most times you got to carry a separate bass rig, right? You got to carry a bass station or something, or a Moog, right? Look how much that costs, right? You get the right MIDI capable pedals like the Enzo X, the Enzo X, and the Future Impact. You can now, and the POG 3, you can also play with MIDI. So you can now do things like, I changed this to synth input, right? And channel 2. Now I'm just straight up synth bass, you know, key bass. You know, volume button there. I prefer this. Let's put this on there. Dirty. That's just dirty. Just now you just got a whole synth rig. Like you got all your vintage bass sounds, you know, like the Moog and stuff. What's going on, brother? Appreciate you. Yeah, definitely spend some time learning keys. If you want to really step your bass playing up, learn some piano, learn some chords, learn how chords and scales relate, and also understand how intervals and increments of scales work. Actually, I'm in the middle of doing my improvisation course, which will be out soon, guys. We're almost there. But yeah, when you got your key bass, all your vintage sounds there, you can have your organ sounds here, you know, synthesizer sounds here, as well as things like you know, little keyboard type sounds. And I love to layer that sound where, you know, it's a nice. That's just sickening. The fact that you can just with MIDI incorporated into your rig, you're no longer having to carry around a heavy keyboard, right? So like this is my main board here. Like I said, all I gotta do is take a MIDI controller and a keyboard stand. I don't even need the sustain pedal. The sustain, this sustain is from my MIDI controllers. Like I have one of the foot switches set up for sustain and to trigger the hold modifier here, right? Which is going to, yeah. And also can still slide. Options, guys. That's what MIDI really truly does for you. It gives you tremendous options. Oh, chat's coming through now. appreciate that. Oh, if y'all got any questions before I get out of here, just let me know. But other than that, I'm going to wrap this up. I definitely appreciate all you guys hanging out with me. If you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe, hit that hype button, hit some of them reactions for me. You know what I'm saying? Help me out. Also, if you want any of my presets from things you were listening to today that you like, you can find all those over on the Patreon. That's for things like the Future Impact, Pog 3. Well, Pog 3 pack isn't out yet, but that'll be out soon. Enzo X, Mercury X, Zoom MS60B Plus, MS70 CDR Plus, the Zoom B6, the C4 synth by Source Audio, and you got 20-something preamp packs, including combination packs of the Color Box and other preamps together in various packs on the Patreon as well. So make sure you check all that stuff out. All these are, like I said, MIDI is a great option to add to your board. I mean, it's going to make your life so much easier, and it's going to allow you to just explore a lot more, especially if you're in the, you got your own artistry going, you got your own band going. You might want to be trying out some different sounds, but you might want to, play it safe. This allows you to get to the sound and get right back to it. I definitely appreciate that. And I definitely appreciate your support. Shout out to all the people on the Patreon and the members of the YouTube channel, but especially, thank you to the people that really have taken the time to buy the preset packs. That helps this channel out a lot. It definitely helps me out a lot when you guys do that. So if you really want to support the channel, grab some preset packs. Also, you can head over to the Patreon and, subscribe there for $1, $5 a month if you just want to help out the channel. As well as I'm going to release my improvisation course, and that's going to pretty much teach you tools. I don't do transcriptions, and I don't do I don't do copying other players. Like, I really don't. My system is to give you the tools to be creative on your own. A lot of times, the difference between you and another person and their playing, being quote, quote, better than yours is more so time and understanding and knowledge. So I'm going to help you guys out with that, understanding what to play and when to play it and what works over what and why it works, and help you find new ways that maybe I haven't even thought of or other people. So, never sell yourself short, and always take the time to, try to educate yourself. So this course here is going to help you out a lot. Trust and believe. But, all right, guys, I definitely appreciate you hanging with me. It means the world to me. If you haven't already, like I said, like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time.